Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm here to do damage control for the video that I did on the two problems that I had with the Youth Congress. And I thought it necessary to do this video because I think a few of my points were slightly misconstrued. So I just thought I should do this video just to be super clear about stuff. So I'm giving you a warning right now that this video might be slightly longer than the first one because I just want to speak as clearly as possible and really hash out everything so that there's no room left for any false ideas or whatever. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes because, yeah, I have notes this time so that I make sure that I have everything on lockdown. So before I get into the points, I have a disclaimer, and the disclaimer is this. As much as I sourced the issues from the Youth Congress, they were not unique to the Youth Congress. So even with, both of the issues were language issues, but even with, the first issue that I mentioned in the first video, this was something that I had picked up at another conference. So as much as I spoke about these issues in context of the Congress, these are not things that I only experienced at the Congress, yeah. Let me just leave it there because I don't want to get into everything before I get into everything. So let's go. Point number 1. This was not a Namibian cause. And what I mean by that is when I had brought up the first issue, it was not in the spirit of the Namibians need to be accommodated. And, as Namibians, I don't feel that we were accommodated. I wasn't advocating for Namibians, at least not for Namibians alone. When I was talking about that issue, I was speaking or advocating for everyone because there were other people of other nationalities that also shared the same sentiments and that also didn't feel accommodated. And I feel like from the feedback that I received, some people kind of took this in a selfish light, like, oh, we're not being accommodated and like you need to accommodate us, like that's not how it was being said, and that was not the spirit with which we kind of approached the issue. That was not the intention behind it. It was a thing of we all want to participate, we all want to listen, we all want to enjoy, and we want to do it together, through a medium that we all can understand. So when I spoke about it, I wasn't just fighting for the Namibians alone. I was speaking for other people because a mentality that some people carried, unbeknownst to some of you, but there were confrontations. I don't know if I should really speak about this because I'm not trying to also divulge too much information or anything. But there were some people that held a mentality that, listen, but we are in the majority, so you kind of need to bend to us. So when I spoke about that issue, that's the kind of mentality that I was trying to combat. I wasn't stepping on the scene trying to be some, queen and join the ranks of the many Namibians that just love to complain about stuff. I was trying to combat that, mentality that says that maar ons is top dog here, so you must follow us. That's what I was trying to speak against. So I just thought I should clarify that because from the feedback that I received, I think some people may have felt like I was just trying to, oh, here come the Namibians complaining again. And that is not at all what I was trying to do. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, this was not about the chorister, the lovely Mr. Loyiso. And this was not even just about choristering. I was very intentional, just as I was with the first point, because I also didn't specify Namibians in the first video. So even with this whole thing about the choristering issue, I also didn't specify choristering. I said that if you're facilitating something in front, so this could be choristering, but it's also inclusive of speaking or preaching, right? The point is, if you're facilitating something in front, and also like I said, and this is why I gave that disclaimer in the beginning, because I feel like some people thought that I was, and not that I feel, but I have deduced from the feedback that I received that there may have been this perception that I was just trying to cryptically, is that even a word? I was trying to target, the chorister in some kind of cryptic message. And that is not at all what I was doing. And like I said, I brought up these issues in the context of the Congress, but these are issues that I've also experienced at other conferences, at other events. So this same issue was also done at those other conferences. So that's why I didn't want to just specify anything or specify anyone in terms of the Congress, because these are things that transcend the Congress as well. These are things that even other people at those other conferences or at those other events were also doing. So that's why I just kept it generic, and I said that if you're facilitating something in front, it would be nice if you just kept it in a pretty generic language that covers the multitude, right? Because we're so diverse, and the reality is that most of us, if not all of us, can at least understand English, but we can't understand Tswana. We all can't understand Afrikaans or, Lozi. So let us meet at the middle ground. And that leads me to my third point. Actually, I think point number 3, 4, 5 kind of tie into one. But let me start off by saying this. With the first video, right, I was also not trying to dictate what language you can sing in. And I do feel, or I do think, that there is a difference between a normal congregational member and someone who is facilitating something in front. For example, choristering, right? Because with choristering, I'm of the opinion that now you're not just singing for yourself, but you're leading other people in song. So I can't dictate what a normal congregational member, what language they can sing in, because they're just singing for themselves. They don't have a mic. No one can even hear you. So I can't tap you, even if I'm sitting next to you and I technically can hear what you're singing. I can't tap you and say that, no, you can't sing in Zulu because we're singing in whatever other language. It doesn't make sense. And so the intention is not to dictate what language people can worship in. If you really feel like it hits different when you sing it in your mother tongue, and your mother tongue is Tonga, go off, do you, absolutely. But I think that the roles and the responsibilities are slightly different from a congregational member to a person who is leading other people in song, because now you have that added responsibility of you're not just singing for yourself, but you're leading other people in song. So then I think you would have to try and just do it in a manner that accommodates as many people as possible. But this is absolutely not an attack on Mr. Loiso. This is by no means some kind of video that tries to vilify him. And I also understand that that's his style. That's how he does things. He really leads songs quite powerfully and beautifully in his mother tongue. So this was really not this was not meant to be some kind of attack on him or bash on him at all. And that's exactly why I didn't specify choristering. I just spoke quite generally, because it doesn't just focus on choristering alone, and also it doesn't focus on the Congress specifically alone. So and then the fifth point goes back to, I think, the second point, when I mentioned the whole English situation, because that's something else that also came up again. And I thought I was pretty clear about it in the first video, but I think I'm just going to have to, repeat it again. Because I think, repetition tends to deepen the impression. So we're just going to do that. I was pretty clear that it is an unfortunate reality that we mostly have English in common. And I recognized that it is the colonizer's language, and that we have a very terrible history behind it, and it's unfortunate. And I said it in the first video that it truly is unfortunate, and I'm not, ignorant of the context behind it, the historic context behind it, but it is the reality on the ground. Probably in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, we're not going to have a language across, at least let's say SADC, not all African countries, but SADC. We're not going to have one language that all Namibians can understand, and that same language South Africans can understand, people from Botswana can understand, people from Zambia can understand. It's most likely not going to happen, not anytime soon at least. So the reality on the ground that we're still going to continue and carry on with for a while, until I guess some major change happens, is that the most common language that you're going to find across these SADC countries is English. So like I said, while I understand the historic context behind it, and colonialism, and the true pain and sadness of those times and our ancestors and so forth and so forth and so forth, with all due respect to them and the pain that they had to go through, but we meet at English. That's what we know, unfortunately. That's what a South African would know. That's what a Zambian would know. That's what a Malawian would know. That's what a Namibian would know. So that's why I say that, hey, by all, as much as possible, let us just try to keep to English, because whether we like it or not, that's where we meet. And you worshiping your own language is not like a problem, and this goes back to what I mentioned. If you're like a congregational member and you really want to do it in your mother tongue, no one's going to shoot you over the head for it. And my issue was not meant, or it was not targeted at normal congregational singing people. Yeah, this was about when you're facilitating something in front. That's what I was speaking to, not just when you're just singing as yourself in the congregation. That's really totally different. So I was not trying to belittle anyone in my initial video. If you wanted to sing your mother tongue and not sing in English, that was not at all what I was doing. I was just saying that if you're in front facilitating something, because you're facilitating something and you're leading other people, you're not just doing it for yourself or on your own, but you're leading other people in it. And in this case, you're leading a international group of people who we don't know our things like that. So as much as possible, keep it pretty simple that each and every person can relate to. That's all I was saying. That's pretty much all I was saying. And then what else? I just realized I never finished my notes, so now I have to speak off the top of my head. Okay, but yeah, I think that's all that I really wanted to clarify when it came to the first issue. So now I'm going to go to the second issue, because that one was also another one. Yeah. So when I spoke about the second issue, right? And let us remember that these issues are not just unique to the Congress alone, because some people had different rationalizations of why they chose the songs that they chose as groups. And so I'm not trying to vilify you for it. Okay, you had your reasons, you had your different ways of thinking around it, and you had your reasons for why you chose the songs that you chose to sing at the Congress. It's fine. But the issue still transcends the Congress. We still have a very big pressing issue as Namibian. Actually, let me clarify that. That's one of the things that I also wanted to just publicly recognize. And yeah, I just wanted to publicly recognize that. And it's something that I even noticed or recognized myself even before I made the video, but someone just brought it up again. So I thought to just make sure that people know that I also know. I understand that most of the prominent, let's say the prominent singing groups in Namibia, Seventh-day Adventist singing groups, I understand that most of them are not made up wholly of Namibians. In fact, there's some groups where majority of the people are not even Namibians. Sometimes I actually laugh. I laugh internally when I see a group singing and they sound so nice, and I just randomly think, I just look and randomly think that non-Namibian, or maybe I'll be like, oh, that person's Zambian, Zimbabwean, Angolan, and okay, one Namibian, maybe two Namibians, and it's funny, but it's also not funny. But yeah, I recognize that a lot of the prominent Namibian singing groups are not made up of Namibians. So there is that extra challenge of singing, majority in Namibia. that sentence did not make sense. So we have a challenge of really having a majority of Namibian language songs on our song lists, because a lot of the people a lot of the members in the groups are not Namibian. However, as much as that is a challenge, and I do recognize that challenge, I don't think that that should deter us from really trying as much as possible to have more Namibian language. Guys, is there a better way to say this? That having more songs in Namibian languages. The English is not Englishing, man. But yeah, I don't think that that should deter us from having more songs in Namibian languages, because the reality, again, is that as much as people aren't Namibian, you're a Namibian-based group and you're singing to a lot of Namibians. Now, I also mentioned this in my first video. You see, there's some things that sometimes I wonder, guys, did you listen or did you just start, shooting me already? But I even said it in the first video that I'm not expecting groups to stop singing songs that are in non-Namibian languages, non-English and non-Namibian languages. I'm not saying that you should stop. And I'm not saying that you should never add new songs to your song lists that are non-English and that are in a non-Namibian language. I'm not saying that you should never sing them again or never add them again. But I said that it's not making sense anymore, man. It's genuinely not. I know some people might feel differently, but genuinely it's not making sense. Because when now you have to wait. I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm just like frying my brain because I'm trying to say this and then I'm like, oh my gosh, let me say that. So let me calm down. So the yeah. What? Where was I? Where am I? So what I was saying cut the cameras. So what I was saying is that you have situations amongst Namibian groups whereby you go to a funeral house, even, for example, and the people there are Vambu, and you even recognize that these people are Vambu, and it would probably be good to minister to them in their language, right? What happens? You just have one Vambu song in your pocket and the rest is maybe Portuguese. Now you want to sing Portuguese songs to Vambus. Waar past dit? And I'm not saying that you can't, right? Because there are some people who just like, sometimes they really like the song, and you can always sing a foreign song, yes, and translate, but we can't lie. We cannot lie. Just the same way that people feel like, no, I need to sing the song, the hymn, in congregational singing, I need to sing it in my language because it hits different. It's also really important to minister to people in a language that they understand, especially if it's their mother tongue, because it also really hits different. So you can translate. I'm not saying that it's impossible or it's wrong to sing a song in another language and then you just translate what it means. You can. But ideally, you should be able to sing in a song or sing in a language that is of the people, because it just really hits differently. So groups recognize that, and I'm not saying that they don't. But then now they only have one Damara song in the pocket, and then beyond that, all they have is Shona. All the other songs are just in Shona. At some point it doesn't make sense anymore, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not trying to criticize groups or vilify groups for this, because I understand, like I said, I even spoke about this in the first video. I know where we're coming from. We didn't really have a good footing musically before as Namibians, and we've had to emulate a lot of the other groups, and then a lot of the good singers in the Namibian groups are non-Namibians. So I get that. But if the ratio of international songs to Namibian songs is mismatched, and the international songs are in the majority, while you're based in Namibia, it doesn't make sense anymore. And I'm not saying that it's easy, and I understand that there are extra challenges that we probably face as Namibians or Namibian based groups compared to Zambian groups or South African groups. There are those minute challenges or minute differences that we have, which I really won't get into because this video is already too long. And I understand that, but people have already made valiant efforts to maybe compose a song in English and then just ask someone to translate it, right? Someone who speaks Herero, then they ask them, oh, please translate the song for us. We want to be able to sing it in Herero. Such efforts, please continue and carry on with them. That's all I was really trying to say in the first video, that let us not double down, but let us lock down and double those efforts, to really keep adding more songs. Let us go back to our groups, sit down and, re-strategize that. Hey guys, let us be a bit more intentional from this point on. I know the past is the past and I'm really not trying to criticize you for it, but sit down as a group maybe and try to re-strategize that. Okay guys, from this point on, I think now we know better. Let us try to really double our efforts in adding songs that are in Namibian languages, because now you're going to go to a mission field and or you're going to go somewhere there to Kavango and Rukwangali songs 0. No, guys, it's not making sense, man. It's not making sense. And with all due respect, it's not making sense anymore. So again, I'm not trying to criticize groups right now for, just or trying to vilify y'all. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just trying to ring the bell or sound the alarm that, hey guys, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, maybe we need to re-strategize how we do things going forward. The past is the past. What we have done, we have done. And I do give my flowers to the groups that have made an effort, and I kudos to you. And yeah, I give you my flowers, because also if you criticize too much, which is not even what I'm trying to do, but anyway, if you criticize too much without giving praise, it also becomes a problem. So I really do give my praise to the groups that have been trying, and I applaud you for your efforts. Let us just continue. And for the groups that feel like they haven't really made such an effort, let us try to jump on that wagon and also add more songs that are in Namibian languages so that we can really minister to the Namibians, because Namibia is where we live. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I want to say. If you've made it to the end, thank you very much for making it to the end, and come back next time when I say something and people chop you for it and I have to do another damage control video. But yeah, thanks for watching.